As you probably know, we have a big problem with opioid use in the United States. And it's not surprising considering how often opioids are prescribed for pain relief. And then it's pretty easy to kind of get addicted to that and want more of that. And I have my own experience, not with getting addicted to it, but with a situation where they kind of misdiagnosed me at first. And I was in a lot of pain and was given kind of a low level painkiller that didn't really touch the pain. It didn't really go away. And then when I went back to a specialist and they made the correct diagnosis, they gave me a real opioid based painkiller, one of the stronger ones. And I remember that I had so much pain for like a week or two before I got the correct diagnosis. And the specialist that I saw actually said that the pain threshold is similar to childbirth. Not that I can relate to that, but it was a high level of pain for me at the time. And I remember when I finally got a real strong opioid based painkiller. And it was the first time that I didn't feel that terrible pain for a week or two. And I was basically dancing around my parents' house because I was in high school at the time. And I felt so great. And I was in so much pain before that. So I can imagine that someone who has chronic pain, who's in pain all the time, would kind of be having a hard time possibly of I want to feel no pain, but I also don't want to be addicted to these opioid medications. And that's a big problem because you don't want to feel that pain. And those opioid painkillers do relieve that. However, I think eventually you need more and more of it. And even if that pain stops, maybe you are addicted to it and now you want to keep doing it. And then it becomes an even bigger problem. So I think this is a big problem for the United States. However, I have a little bit of good news today from Science Daily. And in this article, they're talking about a new study that further advances the treatment of chronic pain. And I want to read a little bit of this article to you because it's hopeful and it's really cool. And I think a lot of things like this are coming next. And I think this is one of the cool things that will happen in the near future. And so this is from this year, 2021. And the summary of this article says that scientists have demonstrated that conolidine or conolidine, I'm not sure exactly how to say it, but it's a natural painkiller derived from the pinwheel flower, interacts with the newly identified opioid receptor ACKR3/CXCR7 that regulates opioid peptides naturally produced in the brain. The researchers also developed a synthetic analog of that conolidine, which is called RTI 5152-12, which displays an even greater activity on the receptor. And the really cool thing about this research that researches this compound that's been used in some traditional medicines in certain parts of the world for a long time now and is naturally occurring, and that they can also make a synthetic version of that's even stronger, is that it doesn't have the same negative impact and side effects that our current opioid painkillers do right now. So I just want to read this section of this article talking about that because I think that's really, really cool. So Science Daily says that the discovery of ACKR3 as a target of conolidine, not sure how to say it, sorry about that, further emphasizes the role of this newly discovered receptor in modulating the opioid system and consequently in regulating our perception of pain, said Dr. Chevignet, corresponding author of the publication and leader of the LIH Immunopharmacology and Interactions Group. And he goes on to say that our findings could also mean that conolidine and potentially also its synthetic analogs could carry new hope for the treatment of chronic pain and depression, particularly given the fact that conolidine was reported to trigger fewer of the detrimental side effects, namely addiction, tolerance, and respiratory problems, associated with commonly used opioid drugs like morphine and fentanyl. And then he goes on to say that our work could therefore set the basis for the development of a new class of drugs with an alternative mechanism of action, thereby contributing to tackling the public health crisis linked to the increasing misuse of and addiction to opioid drugs. And then Dr. Ojas Namjoshi, co-corresponding author of the publication and lead scientist on the study at RTI, says, our work could therefore set the basis for the development of a new class of drugs with an alternative mechanism of action, thereby contributing to tackling the public health crisis linked to the increasing misuse of and addiction to opioid drugs. So I think this article is very hopeful, especially for people with chronic pain. There might be a way in the near future to take care of that pain without all of the negative side effects that current opioid medications have. And I think that's really hopeful. And I think there's a lot of things like this that we're going to learn about pain over the next several decades. And I think it's a very hopeful time to be alive. And I am hoping that in the next decade or two, we're going to have a lot of advances like this that improve the quality of our lives. Of course, there's a lot of stuff that we've talked about before where they're going to lengthen our life, but things like this are going to improve the quality of our lives. And those are the things that get me really excited. And if you want to join me every weekday for another piece of intellectual dark chocolate like this one, I post a new video every Monday through Friday at 7 a.m. Eastern Time, talking about a topic that I think is interesting or compelling or that changes our perspective. So I hope you enjoyed this video, and I hope to see you in the next one as well. I'm Jim Wolf, and I'll talk to you later.